Welcome to the first episode of EPR with your hosts, Nick Frederick and Laura Thorne. On today's episode, we're going to tell you what the podcast is all about, talk about what it means to be an environmental professional, and I heard that Laura might have a question for me at the end, so please be sure to stick around for that. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Super excited. Be sure that you hit that subscribe button before you leave and give us a good rating and maybe leave us a nice comment.
Yes, but only nice ones because we're very sensitive.
Just Nick. Nick is sensitive.
Okay, I'm very sensitive, yes.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Laura.
That was great.
Thank you. My very first intro. We definitely didn't practice that. Yeah.
Save it in the can. We'll never record another one again.
Yeah, right. Yes, perfect. New first take every time. That's
process
our new
efficiency.
Right.
Right from the bat.
Right from the bat.
Welcome to you.
Yeah, and to you as well. What an exciting time this is. Our first show, our very first podcast about the environment and professionals and environmental professionals together.
Yeah, which are my favorite people. So it's really cool. I think that this is going to be an excellent adventure, and I'm happy to do this with you. So
absolutely. Looking forward to it. We'll see what happens, And yes, you'll have to forgive us in the beginning because we're all learning this together. This is new for us and it's new for our NAEP. So sit back and enjoy. You are listening to EPR.
So Nick, we got the show, we got the airtime. Who are we talking to? Who's this for?
It's a great question, Laura. You're always good at questions. I've said that since the beginning. Literally 30 seconds
Not so good
ago.
At answers, but maybe questions.
Yeah, but I think the show is really for environmental professionals of all kinds. We want this to be a broad scope that can apply to folks in our industry, whether that's educators or professionals in like a contractor setting or government agencies. We want there to be some information for everyone. We want there to be a large group of people that are interested in science and how the environmental working world works. So yeah, I nailed it, right? That's perfect. Nothing else to add.
That is perfect. Well, I just wanted to bring up an example that, I met this guy here, I moved to Syracuse 3 years ago, and I met this guy who's really awesome, connected from one person to another. And someone said, oh, you need to meet this one person. And so I met with him for coffee, and, back when you could do that in person and face to face.
Yeah.
And also waste a lot of not waste time, but spend all day in a networking meeting in a coffee shop. But
yeah,
he is in renewable energies. He's doing like residential and commercial solar. He has worked for the county and done planting projects and done all of these things, even been involved, I think, in like urban planning. But when I told him about NAEP, he was like, well, that's not for me. I'm not an environmental professional. I don't think I'm an environmental professional. And I was like, well, then what is it? I think we have different ideas about what an environmental professional is. Yeah. So who's in your local chapter? Because I know the chapters are kind of different across the country. So California, they're a little heavy on NEPA and regulation stuff. But then in Florida, we have so much shoreline and habitat.
Right.
That there was in the TBAP group, we had a lot of not only diversity of habitat, but diversity in the type of industries and jobs that people had that joined.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think North Carolina is a lot of wetlands work, a lot of that. It's a lot of transportation work in particular. So most of the NEPA in the area is, around transportation, which ironically is not what I do at all. So as a federal contractor, I'm working across the country doing NEPA mostly, but also, integrated natural resource management plans and, wetlands delineations and stuff like that too, but doing it in different parts of the country. So there's I think per state, there's going to be a range of professionals that do different things. And so, that's kind of the point of the podcast, is to try to bring that, widen that net and bring in people that either don't normally come together or maybe just hadn't thought of it, like you said. And so I think that's the main point of our podcast and what we're trying to do. So,
yeah, definitely. And I think too, a lot of the students I talk to and career changers, the first thing they ask me is like, I don't know what I can apply for. I don't know what the jobs are. So this will be a great chance to not only bring everybody in, but also talk about all the different things that people do as environmental professionals. And maybe that one person who's sitting around going, I'm not an environmental professional or had never even considered it, will be listening one day and go, hey, that's me.
Yeah. And I think that's important too. Like we want it to be for all levels. We want there to be guests that are the leaders of their industry, but we also want to hear from people that are coming up and just starting their careers, because I think everybody brings a really unique perspective to the environmental professionals field. And so we do not want to shy away from that. We want to give you guys a full picture of what it's like, and then also have some fun along the way, because what's the point otherwise? So
that's one of the things I love about environmental professionals is we do like to also have our fun.
Yeah, I know. I think we were talking previously about stereotypes, right? And one of my favorites, just trying to buy a car. Everyone's like, "Oh, do you want a Prius?"
Stereotype?
Yeah. It's just my favorite. Yeah, because they're like, "Oh, yeah, you must want." You said environmental something, and I wasn't listening to the last half of it, so I assume you want a Prius.
Yeah.
And no, those are too expensive.
They're probably not wrong. But,
yeah, I would. They're not wrong, but they're too expensive. I had to get something cheaper.
They don't know enough about environmental professionals.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Brilliant.
This is EPR.
Okay, Laura. Well, we've said who this podcast is for, but how did this podcast come to be? Like, where did this idea start? And maybe you can give us a little bit of your background as well, and then we'll trade. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. So the podcast idea came up recently, a few different conversations the NAEP board was having about providing value and giving back and really just kind of getting exposure. How do we get our membership numbers up and just the awareness about NAEP? The organization has been around for a long time and it covers the entire country, but there's still a lot of people who haven't heard of it. Yeah. And so it really just came out of some brainstorming. And as far as how did I get involved in what else does NAEP provide? I've been a member of not the NAEP, but a local chapter in Tampa since 2011. And at the time I was working at the Environmental Protection Commission in Hillsborough County. And I was just looking to network. I did a lot of work with other organizations, both public and private. And I wanted to sort of be in a space where I could get to know the people I was working with. And the Tampa chapter was very diverse, had, as we mentioned, people from not only private sector, but from the government organization. So it's a great opportunity for people who are asking for permits to meet the permitters and then build those relationships. It's really like the awesome thing about NAEP and how it's different from the other environmental organizations is that you can cross-connect with the people you work with or want to work with, not only, or, get a job with, obviously, but
right.
And then I got more involved when I did want to look for another job. And so I asked to join the board, not asked, but nominated to join the board of the TBAP and was immediately asked to be vice president or run for vice president. And then was president the next year. So did a lot of work with the chapters and what we did for our members. And we started a women's STEM program, which, was showcased at the conference this year, which was really cool.
It was great. Yeah.
But I love the organization. I love environmental professionals. So when I did leave the EPC and move to Syracuse, and, now I run my own business, I do some career coaching for environmental career seekers. And in my business consulting, I promote and teach a lot of social and impact entrepreneurship and business practices. So just being involved with the environment still, like even though I'm not in environmental consulting, I still want to be plugged in. And I just love environmental professionals. They're the best people. We all love to travel and hike and, majority like homebrew and microbrews and stuff. So there's a lot of really good people to connect with. And again, all kinds of different backgrounds and industries. So that's the cool thing about this podcast. And, I'm the co-chair of the education committee for NAEP. So when I moved to Syracuse and left the Tampa chapter, I joined the national board. And in running the webinars, we have a great opportunity to reach our members, but we don't have an opportunity to reach people who are not members yet or who have not heard of us. No good opportunity to really spread the word and an easy share. So the podcast is like, hey, let's talk about what we do, who we are, do some board member spotlights, and then people can share this and, maybe bring some new people and some young people into our world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's kind of where it came from. What's your experience?
Yeah. And I think for me, so I'm an environmental consultant, right? I have been for 11 years now. It's just crazy to say, but I started out at a big firm and, my boss said one day, hey, you should go to this conference. I think you'd like it. And So yeah, just wide-eyed showed up at the LA conference and just, kind of blew me away because everybody was so fun. So it was like a really positive experience for me. And, and I moved to North Carolina and joined the local chapter there, just became more and more involved in the national group as time went on. But like you said, like there's a lot of really great people in the organization, and it's just really fun to meet people that you want to work with, or just, like I say, they're just fun. And so I hope that we can kind of convey that on this show. And I think that's like, it will say it a lot, right? Like we want to have fun. We want to enjoy, like we want people to see the other side of the regulators. We want people to see a more, basically put a face to NAEP, or
right.
at least a
and
voice.
Just
right?
Be warned that Nick is a comedian, and I've been told I laugh too much. So
yeah.
devilish combination going on.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I will try to make jokes every now and then. But
I will laugh at them. I promise.
Yeah.
Not always promise.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't help it. And so, yeah, it's just, like I say, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
So Laura, do you have a question for me today?
As a matter of fact, Nick, I do have a question for you.
What? So weird. Oh, wow. What is it? I'm very excited. I'm really excited to hear what this is.
So, in all our practice for the podcast and stuff, we talked a lot about television and movies and things. So
right.
What is your favorite movie? All time, hands down, favorite movie?
Most people say this is a hard question, but I mean, look, there's only one movie I've seen like 11 times in theaters. And it was
Did you say in theaters?
Oh, yes. No, I mean, for real, like literally 11 times. It was unhealthy, but it was Jurassic Park. It's Jurassic Park, which is not surprising at all if you know me even a little bit. And it's funny because it's just one of those movies that hit at the right time, right? I was a kid when it came out, and it was one of the most technologically advanced movies ever. And it put dinosaurs on a big screen. And everybody saw that movie, but maybe I got a little too obsessed with it. I was like, I like dinosaurs a lot, and so I just went.
You were like 14.
Yeah, right. I was a little younger than that, but I won't. Yeah, it's probably just slightly too old to care that much.
Your friends were like, Nick, dude, you got to stop.
Yeah, you got to stop. Yeah. Yeah, like I was like, oh, I love the Toronto Raptors. You like basketball? No, I love dinosaurs. Really, so. It's terrible. It was terrible. But no, it was just one of those things. It's just like a slice of life where it just happened to be the perfect film. I mean, to me, they've made a bunch of them since then. They're all bad. All the other ones are bad.
That was my follow-up on that one, was like, what do you think of the other ones? And did you see the 3D when it came out?
Yes, I did. And actually, ironically, I am going to watch it again tonight because it's my birthday. So I'm actually, we're doing like a private screening of it. So yeah, that's, so like I say, the obsession continues. Yeah. I mean, it's also like an eminently quotable movie, which like, growing up was really important, like to our whole family.
Every word. If you're Gen X, every word that or thought that pops in your head is from a movie.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or music.
Yeah, and so it's all kinds of stuff. Like, what is it? Must go faster. I say that in the car all the time. Whenever there's a slow car in front of me, I still say that. And it's just there's so many just moments in that movie.
That's hilarious.
And so, yeah, it's great. And it's
funny thing is, I've seen that movie, but I literally am so scared of movies. That movie scared me too much.
It's actually terrifying. And my best friend's not here, so I'll tell you this story. When he saw the movie, he literally hid behind his seat crying because it was so scary. And it was a really legitimately good, scary movie. It had intense moments in it. So, but still, though, he was too old to be that scared.
Even now it gives me a little anxiety. So
yeah, I know. It's like, hold on to your butts. That's the quote of the year. But spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it. When he dies, with the arm, the arm that falls down. Oh man, when that raptor pops out, the first time.
Is there a ride? Is there a ride for this movie?
There is. Universal, I think, has it. I mean, I don't know if it's still in existence, but there definitely was for a while.
Yeah, we're kind of old enough now for things that were once to be gone.
Yeah.
Especially in the theme park level.
Yeah, no kidding. But okay, well, that's my favorite
Like Mr.
movie.
Toad's Wild Ride. I totally missed that ride.
Yeah. It's gone. And I think even it's a small world is changing. I don't know.
Oh, good riddance to that. Whew.
I know, but it's been there
spooky.
for forever. Yeah. It's a haunting, and like it also stops. Like they never updated it. Like they just kind of stopped in 1980. Like we did it.
Yeah, that's what's terrifying about it.
It's so creepy. Yeah.
Like I'll take the haunted house, haunted mansion all day long, but try to have me go on.
It's a small world.
It's a small world, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. But no, what's your favorite movie then? My
favorite movie is a little bit. It's Dream a Little Dream. It has the two Corys in it, and it's very deep. It has some youth adult themes and some mystical things, and there's a scene with tofu, and
so like
I'm not sure everyone gets into it as much. Actually, I know no one gets into it as much as I do, but I actually wrote a paper on it in my pop culture class in college and got an A+.
Wow. Is it because they'd never heard of the movie before? And they're like, well, I guess that's right. I don't.
No, it's because I think the way that I explained it, they were like, oh, maybe I might watch it one day.
Right. Huh. Neat. So the two Corys were in it. What's the plot of the movie? I don't know anything about it.
The plot of the movie is that it's so deep. It's so
you can't even do it.
There's an older couple. There's an older couple and a younger couple, but it's the classic. It's like a spin on the classic boy who's from the wrong side of the tracks. That's not good enough for the girl. Then there's clique rivals within school, but then there's also this underlying theme of like getting older and holding on to your youth, and also like soulmates. It has all of these, like, don't talk to me too much, I'll convince you to watch
it. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Not to mention it has an awesome soundtrack. The soundtrack is absolutely like top notch for the 80s.
Yeah. Oh man. A great soundtrack can sometimes like eclipse the movie. You know?
I listen to I watch the movie whenever I'm like in a funk, and it just kind of like fills me up again. And then, although now I'm sad because Corey Haim's gone, but there's only one Corey. But the soundtrack I listen to quite frequently because it's also uplifting.
Right. Yeah, that's so funny. Like, so I'm a 90s kid, and so like there's like two soundtracks from two movies that aren't even good, but like the Batman Forever soundtrack was amazing. And so was the Godzilla soundtrack, like the Matthew Broderick film, which again is not a good movie. But like my brother and I listened to that, and it is a slice of 90s life. So it does not hold up. It does not. But at the time, we loved it, way more than
and I'm like the Batman soundtrack from the Michael Keaton one, right. Prince was the orchestrator of that. So that's one of my favorite albums. Soundtracks for sure.
Yeah. So there you go.
So now you know how old we both are. And
yeah, right. Yeah. And where our perspectives come from. So yeah, that's great.
That's probably good.
So, it was a great first question.
You are listening to EPR.
So Nick, that brings us to the end of our show.
Yeah. Our very first show. What a great and wonderful time we all had.
We all did. And all of us.
Now it's all two of us had a great time on the show. It's time for us to end the show. And so we'll send it off somehow. And
so
say goodbye. Great to do this with you. And I think I just snorted into the microphone. Wow. So there isn't a better way to end
awkward send off, not a gross send off.
Oh, right. Sorry. It can be both, right? Awkward and gross. Oh. Yeah, there's something to work with there, I think. So, what were we saying? Oh, right. Bye. So I will see you next week.
So long. Farewell. Remember we were going to sing
something.
A little. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Adieu.
Auf Wiedersehen. Good night. Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah. Good night. Not goodbye.
Adios. Auf Wiedersehen. Yeah. Well, I think it's both. They you know what? We'll get into what is it? The Sound of Music. We'll do that. That'll be next show. Next show. Sound of Music. All right. That couldn't have been more awkward. So I think
that was a success if we're going for awkward.
Yeah, we nailed it. Boom. All right, Laura.
And now time for outtakes.